Good evening.
Good evening. Are you guys able to hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Okay. Uh, See, at Epconic, we have a very strong technical team. That is one of the important thing that is there in the company. Now, our vision for a strong technical team is basically not just a slogan, right? So, in day-to-day culture, we basically ask our developers and our project managers to have ownership and continuous learning. So we ask them to learn, join courses, learn, and also take ownership. And we also have the engineers that are working in our company. They are empowered to make technical decisions with clear boundaries. Then they do cross functional collaboration. Also, what happens is that basically there are stand-up meetings every day, and they are all the engineers are allowed to speak, and also so that all the risks and are the risk are taken early. We know that what the risk are, and also they learn from each other. So if there is some problem and an engineer says something, then the other people who are basically there in the in the company or the new junior developers are there, they are able to basically learn from what the mistakes are, what the problems are coming, and how they are solved by this by their seniors. As well as we also allow them to participate in the meeting. So it is not like the culture that we have in the company is we don't allow a culture like a senior is a junior cannot basic stop the senior, or he cannot give an advice. He can speak whenever he wants to, if there is something meaningful that he is going to contribute to the discussion. In hiring also, we don't look only at coding skills. We also look at what is the clarity of thought that he is bringing to solving a problem. How his communication is. Does he take ownership or initiative for something? Let's say, for example, if you give him a problem, does he go ahead and start thinking beyond that problem, not just solving that problem and giving me the answer to that? He is thinking about it. He is thinking about new things into that problem. He is thinking about what value he can bring to the company. That is an important thing which Epconic focuses when it does technical interviews. So there has to be a cultural fit here where he should be able to speak, he should be able to explain things. He should just not basically look at the problem and start coding. And I think that should be enough, right? Uh, well, if you look at our way of working, it is more inclusive and it makes more sense for us. Me and the management team that we have, mostly the engineering team. They are when we hire people who have that sense of ownership of the project. We would like people to speak up. The reason for that is, let's say if they don't speak up, then the risks are not mitigated at the early point. What happens is that they are afraid to speak if there is some problems. If if they are afraid to speak, they are not going to flag any risks or any problems that are going to happen into the software, because most of the time the management is not included in, let's say, regular testing or regular checking the software or dealing with the clients. They are not involved in that. Mostly the engineers, the project management team, they are basically involved into this type of work, and if we don't allow them to speak, it is going to create much more issues in the organization. And being authoritative is okay in certain sense in certain places, right? When there is a decision has to be made regarding things in which you have not given ownership to the project managers or to the engineers, and these are more kind of like things in which uh, more strategic kind of things where management can be more authoritative, because your engineers and your project managers are mostly involved into day-to-day work, and their being authoritative does not make any sense for us, because they have to take ownership, they have to deliver the things to the client. We are not the ones who are doing that. We are the ones who are giving the vision. So on the vision perspective, I think a management can be a little authoritative, but on day-to-day working and dealing with the clients, they have to be more inclusive. That is what my thought is. Well, it depends. Some of the clients have very different culture. Like one of the clients that we had from Germany, they had a very different culture than ours. They were very strict on certain norms, and the clients from India, they are very relaxed on certain norms, but they are strict on certain norms. So what we have done is, since we work across across clients, you can say across verticals. Uh, what we do is we try to learn things that we can accept from the clients. Like, for example, we can learn kind of things like better documentation, better change management in areas like security or deployment, something like that. If they have a better practice, then we try to improve our standards. Like for, I told you, a company from Germany, a client was there. So we try to incorporate those learnings into our own culture. But sometimes what happens is that some of the Indian clients that we have worked with, they have a very chaotic culture. So we try to create clear boundaries there, so that our processes are not affected internally and our benchmarks are not affected just because of the client pressure. So yes, we adapt, but it all depends on what we are trying to bring from the client to our culture. We can, if it basically is going to have a positive influence on Epconic, but if there is no positive influence on it, or if it is creating more chaos, then we would rather not uh, have that culture within us. Correct. Okay, now see, the strategic plans are created by us. You can say, what we do is that every quarter or every 6 months, what we do is we create clear and actionable priorities rather than kind of like abstract goals. There are abstract goals, like let's say we want to start something new, or we want to create a new vertical, or let's say we want to add something new to that. But what we do is that for every 3 months or every 6 months, what we do is we create clear and actionable priorities for us. So those are priorities for the management itself, the leadership itself, and they will be working on those priorities. So there will be clear ownership. There will be kind of like we will create guidelines. Let's say, for example, we have created the Salesforce consulting thing. So what we will do is we will create architecture guidelines, we will create coding standards, how DevOps is going to work, how the review process is going to work, how basically the requirements are going to be taken, uh, what things are going to be presented to the clients, how the delivery is going to happen. So these are clear points practices that we are going to create. Then we will have we will assign ownership to certain people for those kind of decisions and who are going to execute them. So there will be responsibilities and ownership that will be going to be assigned to people, and then every week what we do is that we try and see that where we are currently on our strategic vision. Are we getting close to it, or basically we are getting delayed? And if there are some issues, then we take that feedback through retrospectives, through client feedbacks, what are the delivery metrics that we get, and all those kind of things. And if there are some issues, then basically we adjust and adapt accordingly. And then we also adapt our plans accordingly. That, let's say, for example, if there is if the team is getting trained and now they are not able to execute certain things, then we are going to see that uh, what they're lacking, how much time it is going to take for them to uh, get those things under wrap, and then how fast we are going to implement those changes, and based on that we will adapt. That is how it works. um, well, you can say, see, there are many things when we consider any new opportunities. It is not just the revenue itself, right? It is not just immediate revenue. There is long term viability is there, delivery risk is there, strategic fit is there, industry risk in the sense that, that let's say you are working with an industry that is right now facing a lot of debt crisis. So is there any ED raid against them, or are they financially stable or not? Because if they're not financially stable, then we are not going to get any revenue from them. We will be the last person who will be paid. So rather than that, we would rather chase a industry that would be better fit for us and will have a better fiscal stability. Secondly is how much technically mature they are. There are many companies who buy certain solutions, but they are not technically mature. The problem happens is that even if you deploy it into their company, what they are going to keep asking for changes, and it will. What happens is that Iconic, we help a lot companies to grow and integrate their systems, but we are also cautious in not chasing things that are going to cause a major risk for us. Because let's say if the project is not delivered clearly and the risks are not basically muted correctly, the problem is going to happen is that the whole thing is going to bomb on us. So we rather have a technically mature company to work with rather than a very immature company to work with. And regulatory and compliance requirements are always there. We have to work with it. So like kind of like audit requirements are there, security obligations are there, so they do VAPT. Then there is data sensitivity is there. So what we do is we evaluate all those things, and they are very important for our team to basically take care of. So yes, what we do is we evaluate strategic alignment that are there, and we also have, let's say for example, we always look at, are they going to strengthen our core capabilities, like let's say Salesforce or modern platforms, or basically Is it going to create a value in in our products? Let's say they are asking for something new in our product, we always incorporate it, but it should give value to the other clients as well, not just to the certain clients. That is also very important for us when accepting any opportunity, because there are many opportunities they come and they are asking us of many new things, but we don't just accept it. We only accept it when it is going to make any sense in growing our uh, product, rather than just accepting it for the sake of revenue itself. If it is not a strategic fit for us, we let it go. Mm. See, that is always there. I mean, uh, Epconic has always gotten into situation where clients were hesitant to adopt software solutions if it changes their workflows, or let's say their authority structure. It is always there because the resistance is going to come from a lot of places. Since there are multiple teams inside a large organization, it always, if you are going to ask them to change their established workflows or their processes, or you are going to challenge the authority, their authority structure, it is always going to create a problem, because what people are going to see is that they are going to see a change, loss of control, and all those kind of things. So the first step for us is to understand what the existing processes are, what basically the concerns they have, what are the pain points they have, and instead of basically positioning our solution as a replacement, you are going to rather position your software solution is basically giving them a sort of value, kind of an enablement, you can say, so that it should not, that the team should not being feel threatened. They should rather feel that they are being, that the solution that we are providing is going to be inclusive, they are going to be included in that software change, not basically excluded and thrown out of the company. Because what happens is, let's say if you're pitching a solution like Salesforce, which is a CRM solution, to a company which is currently on Google Sheets, what happens is that the MIS team of that company is going to feel threatened, and they are not going to be very collaborative with you if you're going to implement Salesforce in there. And what is going to happen is that both the companies are going to suffer, Epconic as well as the client itself, because nobody is going to uh, participate or collaborate correctly in that. So rather than threatening them, Epconic has to assure the clients and their team that this will be an inclusive process. You will also be trained, and you will basically migrate with Salesforce to Salesforce. We are going to help you to migrate to Salesforce. We are going to help you to learn Salesforce rather than replace you. So that is one thing. Then also, how you are going to do that? You are going to basically do small pilot implementations. You will limited the rollout so that they can learn, and then we are also going to explain to them what value we have created for them. Because let's say if you created a whole humongous system and they are not able to adapt, it is going to it's not going to work. They are going to resist a lot, and that happens quite a bit. And it is a human tendency to resist change. So you have to make sure that they are very comfortable with it, rather than, you know, making you are rather than making them very uncomfortable. So if what you can do is you can build confidence, and you have to make sure that there is a buy-in by all the stakeholders that are there in the company. Like let's say if you are putting a logistic solution, then you have to include their security team, then their stores, and then their logistics teams. Everybody has to be included, and has to be a buy-in from all these stakeholders. And so for that, you have to explain to them what value they are going to get. And that is a very important thing to understand from the client perspective, because management is going to push a solution, but the solution's success is going to depend on all the stakeholders that are involved. If they are not going to participate, and you don't buy them in and you don't get them involved, it is going to be a failure for sure. So you have to make sure that all the stakeholders are on the same line as you are, and the management is, and then only you can basically accommodate those software solutions in their those in those teams. Thank you, no problems. All right, thanks a lot.